TJ Lavin, thank you so much for taking the time today. And you've been on the challenge for a long time, man. It's been over 15 years. Your first season was the Gauntlet too. So you're a good guy to ask this question to. How monumental is it for the challenge to be crossing over to CBS, one of the most watched TV networks ever?
I mean, it's insane. It's a dream come true. I mean, we really couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it. I don't believe it's true. I hope it's still going on. It's so scary. Like it feels like a dream, dude. Pinch us. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Like the level that we're at and we're going to, it's insane. It really is. I mean, and I'm very excited for people to watch that never have seen the challenge or have no idea what the challenge is, for them to be part of it and now bring them into the fold is incredible.
Yeah. So with all of these new eyes that the challenge is going to get, did you feel any extra pressure as a host to deliver a better product? Did you get out of bed maybe a little extra early in the morning? Did you put a little extra energy in some other things? Just talk to me, TJ, about what it was like as the host on this new spinoff.
I can honestly say that I didn't do any of that. I didn't even really know how big of a deal this really was until maybe the first second that I saw the whole cast, and I was like, oh my gosh, these people, like, they're really, like, they must have had stylists. Like, they're stunning. Like, the whole cast is beautiful people. Like, look, there they are, Ed Sheeran's singing about those people. I know those are the people that he's singing about. And so it was really cool, man. See them all, and the excitement was great, and that was fun to see as well. So, and all of them new faces. It was cool.
So with you, TJ, you've been the face of the challenge from a host perspective for a long, long time, obviously. What do you think this is going to do to your own profile as a host, as being a more, I guess, better known host in the reality TV world?
I still can't believe it, Steven. I can't believe that I'm like a host, first of all. I don't even know what that, like, I had no idea. I didn't plan on this. I was just a BMX dude from Vegas, just a little desert rat doing my thing. And then like just got into this, literally fell into it. And now here we are 17 years later. And like, I just can't believe it, man. I really can't. It's insane for me. Every season until about 5 years ago, me and a couple of the other guys like Edric and some of the other like crew. Justin Booth is one of my best friends. He's the executive producer, and he's basically made the challenge of what it is today, And he was like, we got another season. I was like, no way. And every season he'd be like, yeah, I don't know how much longer it's going to last. I don't know how much longer it's going to last. He always sets you up for the big failure, like he always sets you up for that. But then it just never came. We just kept going. And then it was insane. I was like, dude, another one? It's like, yeah. It's like, no, 5. I'm like, what? Like, they ordered 5. And we're like, oh my God, that's a lot of work. Like, oh, that's a lot. Like, how are we going to do all that? And so we just do it, put our head down and do it. And then here we are. And it's crazy. It's just really, really lucky.
So let's talk a bit about this cast that you're going to be working with, TJ. So first of all, obviously they're all CBS stars from Survivor, The Amazing Race, Love Island, and Big Brother. If you were, before going into the show, to rank the contestants as a group of contestants from probably the likely to do the best on the challenge to the worst on the challenge, how would you rank them?
I think the best would be Survivor, obviously.
Yeah.
Like they're. I mean, come on, you can't ever think that you're going to be a challenger and not have survivors in the hunt, because they're awesome individuals. But right behind Survivor would probably be Big Brother, because they all live together. So that's a very key significant factor that you have to deal with in the challenge is living together. So that's hard, you know? And so if you live together with somebody, then you're competing with them, and then being able to squash beef and things like that, it's very important. Amazing Race people are always under pressure. They're under a lot of pressure, so they have to perform under pressure, but it's not that hard, I don't think. And then the Love Island thing, I mean, you can flirt your way to the final. I don't think so. So it's like that one, it's hard to take serious, but a couple of them surprised me. So it was happily surprised. I was like, okay.
How would you compare working with the CBS stars? I mean, of course, there's been CBS stars that come over onto the challenge on MTV through Survivor, things like that. But what, as a whole, how different was it to work with the CBS stars compared to MTV stars?
I would say that the CBS stars are much nicer as a whole. Like they're just a really friendly group of people. Like they're very sweet, very cool, very compliant. They're like, you ask them to do this, that, and the other thing, whatever. Because television's hard, you know. There's a lot of wait, hurry up and wait, and sit down and stand up, do this, do that, do this, do that again. You know what I mean? Like the walks and the talks and whatever. But they were very cool. The MTV people have a little more grit. That's something that you need in the challenge for sure. And as a whole, I would say the MTV crew is a little grittier than the CBS crew. But, you know, there's goods and bads to both.
So in one of the challenge promo pieces that dropped when you were talking about the Survivor players, you mentioned Tyson specifically. You said you had your eyes on him, and he, out of everybody, was the guy to beat. How did you come up with that? Had you already seen him do a challenge? Have you watched him on Survivor? Where did this big praise come from?
Yeah, I definitely heard of him. And then there was a lady on my show who is a big Survivor fan. And she kind of gave me the hint, like, listen, this dude is the one, he's really good. He's won Survivor a couple times, I think it was. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, he's really good. And then I personally knew that Danny was a football player. And I was like, oh, he's a really good football player. Like, he's going to be one to watch too, because they have that gear, you know, that gear that you need to go a little harder and go a little faster. And they know what it takes to get it done. They know when they have to peak. You know, and then, I mean, we had a police officer as well, Sarah, and she was awesome too, you know, and I feel like, okay, cool. And then we had a couple of surprises in there, which were Angela and Alyssa. And you know who really did well at some of the eliminations and challenges and things was Azza. I was like, Azza's really good. She was a surprise for me. I thought pretty face, you know, that's about it. No, she did really well. So, and Alyssa too. She, like, I thought they were just a little bit too pretty to do really well at the challenge. They weren't. They were really good.
Just two more here for you, TJ. Just general questions about the challenge. Now, in the challenge world, there's a heated debate about really who is the greatest challenger of all time. Typically, two names are in this chat, Johnny Bananas and CT. So to you, TJ, who's the greatest challenger of all time?
Well, Bananas is for sure, because you can't argue with the numbers. So he has more championships. You know, he has more money. He has more championships. He's won more. That's the facts of the situation. Who would win on a challenge if they were together and they were battling it out? I think CT might get him. You know, so that the greatest of all time is Bananas, no doubt about it. But who would win? Who is a better challenger in today's day and age? I think it might be CT. I don't know. He could get him. So it's right there. Who knows?
Okay.
It's something that I would love to see.
Yeah. And last one for you, TJ. You've been to so many eliminations. You've hosted it. You've officiated it. To you, what has been the best elimination that you've ever watched as the host and as a fan?
Probably Derek K and Joss. I can't remember where we were. I think it might have been Spain, maybe. They did pole wrestle. That pole wrestle that they did was legendary to me. That was one of the coolest events that I've seen, and like it was so hard. It was, I think they did it for like 2 or 3 hours. Pole wrestling, like it was ridiculous. It was like the most insane thing, and I stood there. I was there for it. I was ready. You know what I mean? I loved it.
Nice. Well, that's all I had for you, TJ. I really appreciate the time, man.
Thanks
I really,
a lot, Steven.
yeah, and
Appreciate you, brother. Thank
sure.
you, man. Thank you very much for being a fan of the show. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it.